Hello. See if this is working. If this is working, have any likes or thumbs up, please? Hello. Just waiting to see if we can have any comments that know if it's working, if you can hear me all right. Thank you, Mrs. Lloyd. Hello, Mr. R. Hi, Meg. Hi, Esme. And Edward. Sorry, Jack, you're right. Hi, Isabel. I'll give it a few minutes, let some people come in, and I'll start in a few minutes' time. Hello, the Moodies. Hello. Hi, Tommy. Hi, Mr. Butler and everyone at NJS. And Kanishka, hello. Hello, Sullivans. And the Yates household, hello. Hi, Marcy. Oh, hello, Noah's Ark, everyone there, hello. I will turn the music off once I start reading. I won't be able to concentrate otherwise. I'll give it a few more minutes. Can you hear me okay? On top of Ed Sheeran, of course. Am I loud enough? Do I need to speak any louder? Oh, I'm missing you all too. I've never drank a cup of tea so quick. Hi, Caitlin. And Leighton and Erin at school, hello. Hello, Georgia, Charlotte and Jake Garrett, hello. Hi, Finlay. Hi Dylan too. Yeah, I'll start soon. I'll give it another minute or so. Right, I'll make a start. So I've got a bit of a plan, a bit of an itinerary I'm going to go with. I'm going to start off by just going through the book what we're going to read. I've got a little bit of a fun fact at the end, just to give them a bit of news as well. And then a little reminder at the end from me too. I probably won't do any more shout outs, so I'll be reading now, but if I don't have a chance to mention you, especially hello to everyone and thanks for tuning in. This will be going onto the YouTube page as well once I know how to do it. I'm quite nervous. I've never done anything like this before, so bear with me. If it cuts out, let me know. So yeah, let's go with it. Now, the first one I'm going to read is a David Walliams short story, and it's from the World's Worst Children. Now, I love the World's Worst Children's stories, and that's actually my favourite World's Worst Children's story, so I started off quite early. I'm not going to be showing or turning the book around to show everyone on the camera, but if you've got it at home, it's World's Worst Children 2, and the story that I'm going to read is Fussy Frankie. Right then, here we go. Fussy Frankie. Frankie was fussy. The little boy refused to eat any fruit or vegetables whatsoever. If any found their way onto his dinner plate, he would get rid of them immediately. Brussels sprouts would be flicked across the kitchen, broccoli would be flung over his shoulder, tomatoes would be splattered on the ceiling, aubergines would be thrown back at whoever had the misfortune of serving them up. Rhubarb was the boy's absolute worst nightmare. Like a lot of fussy eaters, he'd never actually tasted the food that he hated the most. But to Frankie, it looked and smelled yucksome. Whenever he came face to face with a piece of rhubarb, he took great pleasure in flushing it down the toilet. "Goodbye, you ranky-danky rhubarb. Good riddance, ha ha," the boy would say as he watched it swirl down the pan. Every morning at breakfast time in the kitchen, Frankie's mum would plead with him. "You need to eat your 5 a day, Frankie." The pair lived in a little house on the far side of town. Casting a shadow over the family home was a huge nuclear power station that glowed in the dark and hummed all day and night. "Ma, do I get me 5 a day?" I'll start again, sorry I made a mistake there. "Ma, I do get me 5 a day," snapped the boy. "I get me crisps, biscuits, chocolate, cake and biscuits." "You counted biscuits twice." "That's because I have 2 packets a day, duh." Frankie's daily menu looked like this. For breakfast, a bowl of crisps with ice cream on top. Mid-morning snack with sweets sprinkled with extra sugar. For lunch and main course, a packet of chocolate biscuits dipped in chocolate sauce, and for pudding, a deep-fried cake. Afternoon tea, a packet of double chocolate biscuits washed down with a glass of treacle. Dinner, main course, a chocolate egg on a bed of crisps. Pudding, a block of fudge smothered in fudge sauce. Bedtime snack, a bag of toffees to chew on. The boy's mum was sick with worry about her son. Because of his terrible diet, Frankie was becoming bigger, paler, and spottier by the day. So Mum had decided to create a food revolution in her house. Her son was going to eat fresh fruit and vegetables at every meal, whether he liked it or not. I'm starving. What's for brekkie, Ma? If it's not chocolate, then I am putting myself up for adoption. Oh, it's better than chocolate. Just you wait and see. The lady then whisked out a plate she'd been hiding under a towel. Ta-da! The lady... Oh. What's this, Ma? Frankie demanded. It's a grapefruit. Oh, what fruit? A grapefruit. It's really delicious. Here, have a try. Frankie looked at the thing with content. He leaned his face down, took a sniff. Ooh, it's Ponky Pongy. It smells fresh. Ooh, it smells disgustable. I ain't eating that, you cruel old hag witch. Give me some chocolate, now. The lady was hurt by her son's outburst, but tried to stay strong. No, she replied. Frankie couldn't believe his ears. What do you mean, no? I want chocolates. No, Frankie. Grapefruits are yummy, I promise you. They taste sweet, just like a sweet. Come on now, be a good boy. The lady tried to feed her son a segment with a spoon, as if he was a baby. He struggled for a while, but Mum persevered and eventually got the piece of fruit in her son's mouth. As soon as she had, he spat it back at her. Splat! It hit the boy's mum right on the nose. Ugh! Screamed Frankie. That tasted like pukey plops! As the poor lady peeled a piece of grapefruit from her nose, she realised she might have to try a different approach with her son. Bribery. Look, Frankie, she began. If you eat the grapefruit, you can have 1 square of chocolate from this giant bar here. Mum always had a giant bar of chocolate on standby, in case her son became angry. The boy was craving chocolate. He hadn't had any for a matter of hours. However, there was no way he was going to eat that yucky, mucky, fruit thin gummy, whatever it was called. And a wicked plan crossed his mind. All right, Mum, you're right. I should have me 5 a day, I'll eat it. Oh, good boy, exclaimed Frankie. Oh, Frankie, I'm so pleased. Go ahead Nah, he snapped. You need to get the chocolate out first. Oh, yes, of course. And as soon as Mum had turned round, Frankie picked up the grapefruit and hurled it out of the window. And it flew right at the nuclear power station. The grapefruit must have hit something as the lights on the power station slightly flickered for a moment. Mum then turned back with a square of chocolate in her hand. Oh, you finished it? Yeah, Mum, lied Frankie. The lady inspected his bowl. You ate this skin as well? Oh, did I? Yes. It's very tough, the skin of the grapefruit. Oh, yeah. Well, that's the best bit, Mum. Now, come, give me that chocolate now. I said, give me the chocolate now. The lady was about to give her son a square of chocolate when he ate it out of her hand like a dog. Ow! Screamed Mum. You bit my finger. It was in the way. Now, what's next? Feeling she was on a roll after Frankie had eaten up his grapefruit, skin and all, she tried the next fruit. A banana. It was the same routine. Frankie tricked his mum into thinking he'd eaten it in exchange for another square of chocolate. Again, the banana was flung out the window. However, because it was bent, the banana returned back to him and hit him in the back of the head, just like a boomerang. So he threw it again this time, but underarm. And once again, it hit the power station. This time, a hum became a loud, grinding noise. Mum turned back to see the plate was empty. Frankie, you ate the banana skin. Oh, yeah, Mum, were yummy-tastic. Chocolate now, please. Yes, of course. This time, the lady wasn't taking any chances with her fingers. She'd become attached to them. So she threw the square of chocolate up into the air for her son to catch in his mouth, the way you might throw fish to a killer whale. Having had incredible success with a grapefruit and banana, the lady thought it time to become more adventurous. So this morning's breakfast was to be rounded off with an exotic fruit, a pineapple. Once again, Frankie managed to convince his mum that he had eaten it whole when he'd lobbed out of the window. Once again, it reached a power station, causing some kind of siren to go off in there. "Oh, what a super breakfast, Frankie," said Mum brightly. "Oh, we're on a roll now." A little later in the day, it was time for lunch. Frankie's mum felt she should try her son on some vegetables. A cauliflower was the first one to be flung out of the window as soon as Mum's back was turned. He threw it like he might throw a shot put, and the boy was given another square of chocolate. Next came a platoon of peas, flicked by one off the boy's plate. They all flew out of the window, straight towards the power station. This was fun. And the reward was yet again more chocolate. Pudding was a pear. The weird, misshapen, easily bruised apple thing was, of course, flung out of the window and it disappeared somewhere inside the power station. Mum was worried because her son was being so good eating up all his fruit and veg, she was soon going to run out of chocolate. The giant bar was very nearly gone. Dinner was a cabbage. This is a vegetable even people who like vegetables don't actually like. Even other vegetables shun the cabbage and don't actually want to be friends with it. The cabbage is a vegetable that gives other vegetables a bad name. Yet, as soon as his mum's back was turned to break off another square of chocolate, Frankie appeared to gobble up the whole cabbage in one go. Really, it had Toomey launched out of the window, once again landing somewhere in the power station, which was now giving off red hot heat. By this time, Mum was beginning to become suspicious. I hadn't even cooked that cabbage yet," she exclaimed. "Oh yeah, I like it raw, Mum. Yeah, it's more nutty. The boy was trying to find the word nutritious, but he couldn't find it anywhere in his brain, so he settled for something simpler. More things in it." Mum wasn't exactly sure what her son meant, but nodded anyway. Yes, good boy. Chocolate! Yes, of course, coming right up. For pudding, Mum had planned to feed her son his most dreaded food, rhubarb. "Now, Frankie, let's see what a good boy you really can be. If you eat your rhubarb, you can have 2 squares of chocolate. In fact, you can finish off the whole bar." As she turned round to pick up the bar, Mum noticed the window was wide open. "That power station's very hot today," she said to herself before shutting the window. And as she did so, a piece of rhubarb flew past her head at speed, bounced off the pane of glass and struck the lady on the face. "Frankie, what on earth do you think you're doing?" demanded Mum. She was furious at having been fooled like this. "I think that rhubarb thingy's still alive. As soon as I bit into it, it just ran off." Did it indeed? Yeah, it ran across the table, did this big leap thing off into the window. Mum stared at the boy. She was fuming. Frankie knew that the game was up. He hadn't seen that look since he swapped the family dog for a bag of fudge. Don't do that at home. You haven't eaten a single fruit or vegetable I've served up all day, have you? Frankie was silent for a moment. Yeah, I have. Really? Yeah, I took a nibble out of one. Which one? A pea? You ate one pea? No, I ate about half of one. It was a ranky danky doodah. Totally disgustable. Repulsing. Never again, right? Mum, give me the rest of that chocolate bar right now. There'll be no chocolate for you, young man, cried Mum. Being called young man meant he was in serious trouble. Now, you get off to bed at once. But, Mum, bed! Frankie shrugged and sloped off upstairs to his bedroom. He muttered something about not really caring. But he did really. Nobody wanted to go to bed at 6 o'clock. Even babies were allowed to stay up later than that. Frankie harumphed to himself as he slumped down on his bed. He stared out of the window. It was still light, and something strange was going on at the nuclear power station. Red lights were flashing everywhere, and the workers were running around in what looked like a panic. Bed, now, shouted Mum from the boy's bedroom door. As he slid under the covers, she drew the curtains. Tomorrow, we're going to start all over again. What? And guess what's for breakfast? Dunno. Something vomititious and all fruity vegetably, I bet. You're dead right, young man. Rhubarb. Oh, the boy bawled. Yes, rhubarb for breakfast. And with that, the mum stormed out of the boy's bedroom and dramatically slamming the door as she did so, with a loud bang. The lady then had to sit down in a darkened room. She couldn't remember ever being so angry. That night, Frankie found it hard to sleep. The thought of having to eat rhubarb for breakfast made his stomach turn. He tossed and turned for hours before finally drifting off. The sound of someone or something on the window woke him up. Frankie's eyes opened in terror. Was this one of those dreams where you actually dream you're awake? There it was again. And again. The boy was shaking with fear. Who or what was out there? His bedroom was on the top floor of the house. It was too high up for anyone to reach. There was only one thing for it. Frankie would have to peek out of the window. He slid out of bed as quietly as he could and pulled the curtain back the tiniest bit. Ah! Screamed the boy. Outside was some kind of monster. It looked like a cabbage, but it was 1,000 times the size and was glowing a luminous green colour. It tapped on the window with its leafy hand again. As it wasn't going away, Frankie slowly opened the curtains. What was this creature? A giant alien plant from outer space? And here's what it looks like. Frankie! It boomed. The thing knew his name. Yeah, he stammered. Frankie, the fussiest child in the world. I guess so, yeah. Who are you? I am the cabbage you so cruelly threw out of the window. Yes, we fruits and vegetables do have feelings, you know. Why are you all big and talking? You threw me so high... my voice is going to go soon. You threw me so high, I went down the chimney of the power station and ended up in the nuclear reactor. What? The boy couldn't believe his ears. Behind the giant cabbage, Frankie could see that smoke was billowing from the power station. It was clear the place was going into meltdown. Now it's time to get my revenge. If you won't eat me, I will eat you. And with that, the cabbage's leafy hands smashed through the window and grabbed the boy by the arm. Ow! He screamed. Frankie wrestled free and rushed out of his bedroom. He raced down the stairs and out into the street. He ran as fast as his legs could carry him. Soon he was out of breath and had a stitch. A diet of cake, crisps, biscuits and chocolate had left the boy unfit. Limping down the road, Frankie didn't dare look back. Behind him he could hear a thundering sound. After a few more steps, the boy just couldn't help himself. He just had to look back. At the front was a giant glowing cabbage. Get him! It boomed as it bounced along. Behind the cabbage was a huge glowing white and green thing. It was hopping down the road. You nasty little runt, it shouted. Let's digest him slowly and make him suffer. Next to the humongous cauliflower were 100 bouncing green spheres. They're about the size of beach balls. Frankie realised these must be the peas that he'd flicked out of the window. The peas seemed to be crying. I can't believe he did this to us, one said, fighting back the tears. Everyone likes peas. I don't like peas. Peas are puke-tastic, shouted Frankie. Let's teach him a lesson, cried another pea. Yeah, shouted a chorus of them. The fruits were not to be outdone by the vegetables. A giant grapefruit, a ginormous banana, a colossal pear, and an enormous pineapple were all following close up behind. Keep up, said the grapefruit. I am keeping up, dear, hissed the pear. You know I bruise easily. Yeah, me too, chimed the banana. The pineapple was pushing past them all to get at the boy. Out of the way, commoners! Exotic fruit coming through! It bellowed in a posh voice. Frankie was frozen in fear. The fruits and vegetables surrounded him, all ready to pounce. Please, please, I beg you, don't eat me. I promise I'll eat me 5 a day. And just then a voice came from far off. It was a ginormous rhubarb. The boy is mine, boomed the rhubarb from the roof of the house. The vegetable was lit from behind with a silvery moon. What? Demanded the cabbage. Frankie looked at the tall pink vegetable thing. I didn't even manage to fling you out the window, the boy protested. You bounced off the glass and hit me mum in the face. I know, replied the rhubarb. That is a crime not just against me, but against all rhubarbs of the world. I had to avenge them. So I crawled across the kitchen floor, leaped through the cat flap, and jumped over the fence to get inside the power station. From there, I found my way into the nuclear reactor. Bingo! Nuclear reactor... got carried away. Bingo! A nuclear rhubarb! Your worst nightmare! With that, the monstrous vegetable leaped off the roof of the house. It flew through the air, opening its mouth wide, revealing its terribly rhubarb teeth. Ah! Screamed the boy as his head was munched off. All the fruits and vegetables pounced. I want an arm, shouted the cabbage. I want a leg, exclaimed the cauliflower. Save us the rest, said the fruits. It was a feeding frenzy. The boy was gone in seconds. The peas bounced up and gobbled down what was left of him. That was the end of Fussy Frankie. So, children, please remember this important lesson. Eat your greens, or one day they might eat you. Right, that's the end of the story for this week. I haven't decided my story for next week. I've got a few of the David Walliams books. I've got The World's Worst Children 1, World's Worst Children 2, The World's Worst Teachers, and a few other Roald Dahl stories. But if you've got any suggestions, then by all means comment them on, and happily have a look. I did say I was going to do a fun fact as well. I was really interested when I saw this morning. You might think not. But they found a new species of green pit viper, which is a snake. And for all the Harry Potter fans out there, they've named the species of green pit viper Salazar Slytherin, or they might have just named the new snake it anyway. But I thought it was quite cool to be naming it after the Harry Potter character. So just a little reminder from me, not all the videos that I'm going to do in future are going to be live Facebook streams like this. They might be little video recordings that I've done that might be exactly like this, and I'll upload them on. I have also got the green screen, so I may do a little story and actually make the story come to life as best as I can. Or I might do a podcast, which will be a bit like an audio book. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Tune in against next week, and also I know later on is Miss Hardy's book as well. And also 10 a.m. for Miss Watson's maths lessons. So keep safe, and I'll see you all soon. Thank you very much. Bye.